Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia, and I'm coming to you as always from the south of Germany. Today is April 18th, which is a Saturday. I pretty much just got up and had breakfast, so I haven't had any coffee yet, which is very, very sad. But nevertheless, I think we can get through this podcast, and I really hope that you will enjoy it. So if you're watching for the first time, of course, a big welcome to you. And if you are coming back, thank you so much for being a regular viewer of the podcast. We are once again coming to you during coronavirus times. I will try not to dwell on that too much because I think it is hard enough without maybe constantly being reminded of it, but I am trying to film more episodes and just put out more content to give you guys and also myself a bit of distraction. I have, however, this past week not managed to do a special episode. I was just feeling a little bit burnt out and exhausted, but I am feeling better now, and I have some ideas about new sort of special episodes that I want to do in the future, so fingers crossed that will all go to plan. So today is a regular podcast format, which means that we have finished objects, then some works in progress, and I have a bit of stash acquisitions, and then I will most likely just talk about life in general and what is happening with us towards the end of the episode. So shall we just jump right in? I think we should. Maybe I should mention in the very beginning that I don't do any show notes, but I keep my project pages on Ravelry pretty well organized. So if you have any sort of questions about yarns and needle sizes and designers and pattern names and modifications, all of that can be found in my project pages, which I always link right underneath each video, and then you can just find the project that you're looking for and find all the information there. So, finished objects. Once again, I'm out of breath. It just doesn't change. Obviously, I am wearing one of my finished objects, which I am so excited about, you guys. This is my So Faded sweater, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. I knit this out of a Hedgehog Fibers Fade set, and I just dropped some yarn. So this is Hedgehog Fibers sock base in their Fade 2019 October colorways, which I think they were called something like 4 to 6 because they are not named. They're kind of like one-of-a-kind colorways that you can only get with the club. I only got that Fade Club once, and these 3 skeins that I used in the sweater are the only ones that I kept. The other ones I sadly destashed. They were fine. They were just not really what I wanted in terms of color. Anyways, so I chose to do this faded sweater. I will try to remember to put photos of me wearing this on the screen. If I forgot, then I am so sorry, but you can find them again in my project pages on Ravelry or on Instagram, where you can find me as the Happy Knitting Podcast, whatever is more convenient for you. So, in terms of modifications, I chose to do this with only 3 skeins of yarn, 3 skeins of fingering weight, which were enough for sure, but did mean that I actually have very little yarn left. I think I have 35 or 40 grams of all the yarn nuggets that I have left over together, which wasn't, I never played yarn chicken. I never was worried about running out of yarn. It just meant that after I had finished the body, I did weigh each of the colors and noted that in my Ravelry project page, and I was really happy I did that because then it was much easier to kind of gauge how much yarn I needed for each sleeve and when I would need to start fading. So you can see that my sleeves have a lot more of this third color because I was running quite low on the first and second color that I used in the sweater. Anyways, it worked out really well. I did so many modifications on this sweater, I probably can't remember all of them, but I will try to run through them kind of quickly, and again, they will be on my project page. So most obviously, I did not do the sort of texture stitch that the original pattern has on the shoulder. I also changed the increases for the raglan a little bit because I wanted a bigger size for my bust measurement because I do want to keep wearing this as my pregnancy progresses, but I didn't want huge sleeves, so I kind of stopped the sleeve decreases earlier. I then, as I usually do, I just did my own sleeve decreases. I actually did full-length sleeves, which I'm really excited about. And for the body, I didn't do any decreases. In fact, I did a little bit of increases just at the very bottom of my sweater to give it a bit more of an A-line shape, and also because my yarn was pulling in a way that I didn't like, and just adding a couple of stitches solved that problem. And I also did a split hem, so I knit the front hem and the back hem separately, and I also made the back a little bit longer, which is an effect that I just really like. And I think I changed the ribbing, so you're supposed to do a 2x2 rib, and I did a 1x1 rib for all of the cuffs and everything. So I love this sweater. I am so happy with how it turned out. You may remember that I didn't try it on for quite a while, so I think I was halfway down with the body before I first even tried this on. But it fits so well, and the original pattern is very much, I think most people knit it with either no ease or just very little ease. So it's a very tight fitting sweater, like very figure fitting, which is a nice concept, just not something that I wanted for this particular sweater. I wanted this to be more like boxy and roomy, and it turned out really well. I don't know how much positive ease I have exactly because my size keeps on changing. But it is really comfortable. You can see here on the shoulders there's definitely a bit of space here, but I do like it. It's kind of like a sweatshirty sort of fit, and it is really, really, really comfortable. So I am very happy with this, and I'm also very happy that I got this done. So this is a fingering weight sweater, and I managed to knit this in less than a month, just because, I mean, I started this pretty much when this whole corona crisis craziness started happening, and I needed a lot of mindless knitting to keep my mind occupied or keep my hands occupied and do something that made me feel better, and this was definitely the project. So I kind of sped through this, and I'm really, really happy with it. But this isn't the only finished object that I have. In fact, I have quite a few more. So first up, finally, I finished these socks, which I think I didn't even show you last week because I hadn't worked on them. But these are my neon socks that I'm knitting for a friend of mine. Essentially, they're just a top-down sock. I knit them 2 at a time with a 1x1 rib, and then a 3x1 rib across both the leg and the front of the foot. I did my usual fish lips kiss heel. And I just had fun with stripes, so I basically just, threw in some random color changes, and these are obviously fraternal socks. So I had 50 grams of each color, and I just kept on changing colors every now and then, and I think they turned out really, really fun. So these are ready to be gifted whenever we are allowed to see people and go outside again. And the yarn that I used is a yarn that I got in a sale from a Danish yarn company. This is Black Hill Socket. Color 650 and colorway 3023, I believe. Again, they're on my project page. I got this yarn on a sale. It was very affordable, so I just decided to get a couple of skeins. I liked it, but it's not something I would necessarily buy again. It is quite a soft yarn because it is not plied with a lot of twists, so it wasn't splitty, but you could just tell that it wasn't a super high twist yarn. That makes the socks quite soft, but it also was a bit of a thin fingering weight yarn, so yeah, like I said, I like them. I like the yarn. There was nothing wrong with it, but it's not necessarily something that I need more of in my stash. But that's a good thing. I mean, I'm using up stash. I am using up things that I've had for a while, and yeah, I'm really happy with these. And then I had leftovers, and I thought, what could I do with them? And one thing that I have been actually planning to make for a while is baby tube socks or baby spiral socks. So you may know that I feel like I haven't knit that much for a baby. But one thing that I have been wanting to knit is baby socks, because I kind of refuse to buy baby socks. just because I feel like they would be so simple to make, and I've only made one pair so far. And one thing that I've always wanted to try is those spiral socks, because essentially you knit them without a heel, and that means they can just fit a little bit longer, whereas those adorable newborn socks, it feels like you can probably use them for a couple of weeks and then that's that, which is really sad. So I have been meaning to do spiral socks, and here they are, and they're cute. They're just so adorable. They look tiny. I have rolled on the cuff. You can use them either way. And essentially what you do is you just knit a little tube sock, and you have this sort of spiraling rib pattern. So it looks like cables from afar, but it's really just, shifting a rib pattern by a couple of stitches every now and then. And this means that they are, they're more stretchy, and also they can kind of grow with the baby, which I think is just really, really handy. So these were kind of my first prototype, and if you're interested in exactly how I did these, I did write it down very roughly on my project page. So I don't really feel like I need to publish a pattern. I didn't use a pattern for these, but there are different spiral socks for babies, for adults, for anyone really, on Ravelry, on the internet. So I just kind of did my own thing based on a couple of patterns. But do let me know if you're interested, and maybe I can think about it. But anyways, these are my first try, and I just used my regular sock needles. So I used my 2.25mm US size 1 needles, and I knit these with 32 stitches. And I think they will fit. I have compared them to my previous pair of baby socks, which are the perfect newborn socks. And they have the same size, and I followed a pattern for that, so I think they should fit. But they just feel so tiny. And again, I want to make something that lasts for a while, and I mean, with a ribbed sock, I think even if it's a little bit too big in the beginning, it doesn't matter. So for my next pair, I decided to go up a needle size. I went up to a 2.5mm or US 1.5, I believe. And I think this is going to be what I will continue doing, because these are just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit stretchier and bigger, and these feel really good to me. So how adorable are these? Again, I have rolled down the cuff. I think you can wear them either way, just depending on what you prefer. I think they look cute with the cuff rolled down. And this was again just some leftovers. This was actually some Felici in their rainbow colorway, which is one of my favorite Felici colorways by Knit Picks. I knit that years and years ago. I think I was wearing these rainbow socks, not these, the ones, the adult sized rainbow socks, when I was first looking for a job, which was, oh my gosh, that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So this has been in stash for a long time, and I finally used it up to make some more spiral socks, and they're adorable. So yeah, I have kind of been on a spiral baby sock kick, and they're really fun. I want to time myself for one of these because they go so quickly. I knit both of these pairs in like less than 24 hours, and I did a whole bunch of other things as well during that time. They just go so fast. I am not Kitchenerring these because that would be crazy. Essentially, I just decrease, and then when I have 4 stitches left, I just pulled my yarn through the stitches and I cinch it in, and they just go so quickly. And I think this is going to be a thing that I'm going to make a lot, just with like mini skeins. I have so many beautiful mini skeins, and I don't know really what to do with them. I mean, I have lots of blankets, but sometimes you want something different, and especially with my self-strapping mini skeins, I often don't know, I don't want to put them in my blankets because I just personally don't like self-strapping in my blankets. But self-strapping baby socks are cute. So I can see a bit more of these in my future. And I mean, all of these were knit with 32 stitches, but I could also see myself just going up to like either, I don't know, 36 or 40 stitches, and I can just make them in bigger sizes because baby's feet will grow eventually. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, and these have really been cheering me up because I don't even know why. I've just been really exhausted, which is probably due to my pregnancy. and it's kind of been annoying me, and I had a couple of days where I wasn't feeling bad at all. I was just a bit, I don't know, I had lost my knitting mojo a little bit, and then making these little colorful rainbow things just made me so much happier and kind of brought back my knitting mojo. So yeah, that is it for finished objects for this week. I feel like I've been talking for a very long time, but I do only have 2 works in progress to show you this week, because once again, I'm only showing you the things that I've really worked on, because otherwise it just gets boring. So I will be back with works in progress in a second. For my works in progress, like I said, I've only really been making progress on 2 things. One of the things that I've been really obsessed with is my Vertices Unite shawl. So the Vertices Unite is a pattern by Stephen West, and this is where we are, and I have a yarn tag attached to it. So this is a knit-in section. It's a really fun shawl. I'm really enjoying the construction because Stephen is a genius, and you're just like working in all different kinds of directions, and it's super fun. So last time I showed it to you, I had finished this first section, and I had, I think, finished this second section down here. So I think I had started this. So in this week I finished this huge pink section, which actually, this was the one that I was most worried about, because while I do have enough yardage, I think I just wasn't 100% sure on it, because I am knitting this with mostly using 50 gram skeins of yarn that have enough yardage, but my gauge is also quite a bit bigger. So while I am knitting the small size of the pattern, this may not come out as small as some of the other projects that are knit in this size. But anyways, thankfully I didn't run out of yarn, so I finished this pink section, then did this black section, which this was knit in very little time at all, and I'm now on my second to last section. So how fun is this? I really love to see how this is like coming together, and yes, it is just plain garter stitch, but because you're constantly like increasing and decreasing and picking up stitches, I'm really enjoying it. I think if I were to do the big or the larger size, that would drive me up the wall, because that is just so much more knitting and so many more stitches. But this small size, which I don't think is going to be very small in the end, this is really enjoyable, and I just love how the colors are playing together. I can't really see what you're seeing, but I love this thing, and I think this is going to be both a shawl that I wear all the time, and it might also be really handy to, I don't know, serve as a baby blanket or whatever whenever I need it. So yeah, I am super happy with this. I'm knitting it on 3.5mm US size 4 needles, and the yarn that I'm using is a non-superwash yarn from Norway. It is Rauma in their Gammel series, which I think is similar to their Fenil yarn, except it is more high twist, so it has a little bit less yardage, and I'm really enjoying this yarn. I, again, am using this from Deep Stash, so I bought this on our first trip to Oslo. And I wanted to make a sweater with it, but it turned out later that I just can't get fingering weight gauge with this yarn, or I can't get fingering weight gauge comfortably with this yarn. So it's kind of been sitting in my stash, and I'm really happy I'm using it all up and using all the colors together. And yeah, I mean, how cute is this? And yes, it is very rustic. I don't want to say it's scratchy, but it isn't super soft. But I love non-superwash yarns, which I talked about that a lot in my, not my last episode, but my last special episode. So if you go back 2 episodes, you will find some reasons behind my love and adoration for non-superwash yarns. And again, I think like just washing this and wearing this, it's going to become so much softer, and I'm hoping that this will be something that we use all the time. So yeah, that is my Vertices Unite, and that brings us back to baby projects. So I'm sorry if you're not into like the baby things. I don't know why suddenly all these baby things pop up. I haven't been hugely like only knitting baby things, but today, I don't know, everything is kind of related to that. So I'm sorry, but really, I'm just talking about my crochet blanket. So you may remember I cast this on a while ago. And And I am not a crocheter. I keep saying this, and I have been crocheting quite a bit now, so I don't know when I will become a crocheter, but as you will hear in a second, I still consider myself a beginner when it comes to crochet. But this blanket that I am making is the C2C corner to corner linen stitched blanket by Polly Plum Crochet, I believe. So it is a free pattern, and the advantage of this one is that it doesn't only come with written instructions, but it also comes with a video tutorial. And I am the one who usually hates video tutorials. I just don't like them. But when you have no idea about crochets, and like I still have to think about every time, like what's a chain stitch, what's a double crochet, not to even start talking about like double and treble and like the different terminology between British and American crochet terms. So for this, I am pretty much only following her YouTube video, which all of that, I have the link in my project pages. And yeah, so this is what is getting me through this blanket. And last time I showed this to you, I was on this blue stripe. So you can see I made all of this progress in the last week or so, and I'm so happy with it. The reason why I made so much progress is because I have decided to knit or make another blanket. So I just needed to also make progress on some of the blankets that need to be done to make myself feel a little bit better about it. And also, once I picked this back up, I really enjoyed it again. So it is a square blanket that you knit from corner to corner. And I picked it up again, and I have decided that this won't be a very big blanket. I'm imagining using this either like as a car seat blanket or maybe in the pram. So I just don't want this to be very, very big. And so I decided to turn the corner, so I am officially past the halfway point of this project, which is very exciting. I'm finding it very hard to show you, but this is kind of the idea. And you guys, I mean, I feel like I can follow instructions, but turning this corner and figuring out the decreases was quite hard for me, and I don't really know why it was, because it's really such a simple pattern, and again, you have written instructions, you have a video. It's really not that hard. I think I was just struggling with it because, again, I am not a crocheter in a way that I've ever been taught. And so some of like the natural like things like stitches and chains and spaces between chains and all of that just don't come as naturally to me. And also, I mean, doing this turn in a black yarn, I don't know what I was thinking, because it was so hard to see what I was doing. But I have figured it out, and I think I am pretty much correctly decreasing now, and it kind of looks right. So I am very happy with this, and again, I just want to make some progress on this, and now it feels like, of course, the rows are becoming shorter again. So I actually am feeling quite motivated to work on this more, and hopefully have at least one baby blanket done sometime in the next couple of weeks. So I am basically just, using different colors of cotton. This is cotton from Hobby, which is spelled with a double I in the end. It's a Scandinavian, quite affordable yarn brand, and I just bought a couple of their color sets for this blanket, and I'm just using these colors, doing like 7 row stripes. And like these stripes go pretty quickly, so I can always try to do like one stripe in one sitting, and again, progress is being made, so I am very, very happy with this. And I am using a 3mm crochet hook, and I have no idea what that is in letters because it doesn't make sense to me. I'm so sorry. Like attaching letters to crochet hook sizes doesn't make sense. So yeah, it is a 3mm hook, and I'm just using whatever was the cheapest hook that I could find. I think it may be Knit Picks or Knit Pro, but I am not quite sure. Yeah, so that is what I've been working on. I have also picked up my No Frills cardigan, but that is going so slowly, you guys. I don't know. I just feel like I'm not making progress on it, and I really do want to have the finished garment, but I'm kind of stuck with that at the moment. I have not worked on my other Stephen West shawl, which is my Cozy Corners wrap or shawl. And I have only worked a little bit on my alien socks, no, not alien socks, pandemic socks that I am knitting for Kai. But since I have now finished my neon socks, I will pick those up pretty soon. Also because Kai is quite jealous because our son is getting all these fun socks. And he's getting all these fun strappy socks. And Kai's like, no, I want stripy socks too. And like stripes are the one thing that Kai doesn't usually want in his socks. So I'm not sure where that is coming from. So apparently now I need to knit for both the men in my life at the same time. But yeah, that is it in terms of my knitting. So let's move on to some acquisitions. And you guys, I swear, I really wasn't planning on this, but my acquisition for this week is 100% to be blamed on Tanis of Tanis Fiber Arts, who is a yarn dyer, and she also makes beautiful patterns and podcasts and all of that. She basically does it all. And she has been showing photos on Instagram of a blanket that I think she is crocheting. And it's this beautiful fade, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are those colors? And it's probably something that I cannot or will not afford. But then I looked it up, and she's actually using something that was both affordable and easy to get here in Germany. And you guys, how adorable is this set of mini skeins? It is so adorable. And once again, I'm not sponsored, by the way. I am new to all the like more cotton yarns because I don't usually use them. I like to use them for crochet, but I don't usually crochet. But this is yarn by, I think you call it Shapius. I'm not quite sure. I'm sorry if I am mispronouncing it. And this is a set of, I think, 58 colors of like 10-gram mini skeins of their cotton and acrylic blend. And I mean, how adorable is this? Like, I even showed this to Kai, and even he thought it was adorable and we need to have it. So this had to come and live with us, and this will be my next blanket project. And this is also why I have decided that I need to actually finish some of my other blankets so I can start this. So this was actually quite affordable. I found it on a couple of different German websites. And like I said, it's just a ton of mini skeins, which should be enough for at least a baby blanket. And then because I was like 10 cents away from free shipping, I also just decided to get one like 50-gram ball of this same yarn because I thought I could always use a neutral to maybe even do an edging, or just I would use it for something in this blanket. And yeah, so this is the same thing. It's Shapius Stone Washed, which let's talk about it. I haven't really looked at it. It is 78% cotton and 22% acrylic, and 50 grams are 130 meters, so it's about a sport weight. And I'm going to be using this for another blanket, like I said. I have not decided what I'm going to do yet. I mean, I could do what Tanis is doing. She's doing, I think, like a single crochet blanket, and it looks really cool and it's very simple. So totally something that would be doable. I have also thought about knitting with this. I don't generally like knitting with cotton, but this is a very soft and interesting cotton, so I might like this more. And of course, there are still the two blankets that I kind of want to make anyways, the Battenberg blanket and the Polygon blanket, which is a knitted blanket, but that is knit in like a billion pieces. So I'm not sure if that is the best idea. But it is something that I'm thinking about. Again, I did a blanket episode a while ago, so all the information will be there. But maybe I will just grab one of these mini skeins and see if, just by chance, I don't know, I can get like either 1 or 2 polygons out of one. And if it works out, that is something that I might consider doing. But if it means that I'll be wasting a lot of yarn because whatever squares or polygons or whatever I'm making are only using part of each skein, I mean, I don't want to waste any of this yarn. So if that doesn't work out, I may just do like either a knitted or a crocheted blanket that you just work on as a big piece rather than anything that you need to join together. Anyways, that is what I got this week, and I have no regrets because it is freaking adorable, and I am very excited to play with all of these colors. So this is it for the knitting content of this podcast. If you're only here for that, then thank you so much for watching. If you do want to stick around, I will just babble on a little bit about what has been happening here. Essentially, I mean, it is more of the same. We're still safe at home, social distancing, all of that. We have been really lucky that the weather has been super summery. So I've been spending a lot of time again on the balcony, and we've been going on long walks, which have been really good for me. I'm definitely trying to stay fit. I've been actually doing also yoga and stuff every day. So it's great to have these sort of exercise things that you can do from home. At the same time, I have just really been so exhausted this week. It may just be pregnancy, to be honest, but it has been a little bit annoying. So I am watching what I eat, but I think I'm doing pretty good on that front. And again, trying to still go outside and move and stuff to just make sure I get enough exercise, and maybe that will kind of help with that. But all in all, I am feeling pretty good, so please don't worry about me. I had a couple of people reach out after I posted on Instagram that I wasn't going to do a special episode, and please don't be worried about me at all. I am doing really well. We are doing really well. Yeah, and in terms of what's been happening, we have just been working on some stuff in the background because originally we were going to be moving in about 2 weeks' time. And I think it's about time I announce where we are moving, because we will still be moving there. And that is, we are actually moving to the UK. So we will be moving to beautiful Hertfordshire, just outside of London, and I am incredibly excited about that. This has been in the works for a while. It was actually a close call between either Philadelphia in the States or the UK, and with the current situation, I mean, it is terrible on both counts, but I think if we had been planning to move to the States, that would probably be really, really incredibly difficult, if not impossible right now. Whereas, I mean, we are still going to move to the UK. It will just happen a little bit later. But that did mean that originally I was planning to, of course, have our baby there, and that is not happening anymore. While I think the NHS is doing a great job, it is much safer for me right now to stay in Germany. So we have kind of been, making our plans for that, because we will also not be staying in Munich for that much longer. So there's going to be a temporary move, most likely around July, and then hopefully, as soon as we can, a permanent move to the UK. So without going into too much detail, because I don't want to talk about my husband's job or anything like that, let's just say he's been working for a British company, international company, for about 4 years now, and this has kind of been something that has been in the works for about, let's say, 9 months. I think we seriously started thinking about it last year in August. And so he is staying with the same company, just changing roles, which is really exciting. And obviously, it's going to be a bit of an adventure. I'm not really sure if you've been watching for long enough, you know that we actually used to be quite adventurous, and both of us have lived abroad. He lived and studied in Sweden, actually. And I spent a year in school in Australia, and also just spent a lot of time like volunteering and backpacking across Southeast Asia a couple of years ago. So we've kind of been stuck in one place for a while, which was nice, but we are really excited to kind of have a different kind of adventure soon. And yeah, so the timing of everything has obviously been completely messed up by this virus, which, I mean, it's a little bit sad, but we are still so lucky that we are healthy, that our families are healthy, and I think that is the most important thing. So we had actually rented a house, which probably is not going to work now anymore, and we're still in the process of figuring all of that out, which it'll just happen at some point. But yeah, so that has kind of been what's been happening, and I have been figuring out like doctors where I'm going to give birth, all of that. I'm not going to go into detail about that. I'm also not going to go into detail where exactly we are moving because we know where we're going. We don't need any recommendations, but I just like to keep it a little bit vague, which I'm sure you can understand. I mean, I am putting this on the internet for like so many people to see, so I think privacy is a bit of an issue. But that is the outline of what is happening. So, yes, I was really excited about being in the UK starting in May. Now it will be probably sometime in autumn or fall, wherever you want to call it. But we will be there. I will be, in the British yarn scene, which I'm really, really excited about. We'll only be like, I don't know, 30 minutes or something from London. So I am planning on all the yarn calls, all the British yarn festivals whenever that starts happening again. And this is going to be a permanent thing. I mean, I don't know for how long, but there is no time limit on this. So yeah, big changes coming up, and yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind working it all out, and we still haven't worked it all out because obviously no one really knows when we can even like travel again, or when the borders will be open. But Kai will actually be starting his new job in May, working remotely, and we'll just go from there. So yeah, that is big news. In fact, this was the big news that I was planning to share last week, and you may remember that in the end of the podcast, I was like, there is something that I wanted to talk about, and I couldn't remember because apparently I have pregnancy dementia as well. And you would think that like such a life-changing big thing would be something memorable for me, but apparently it wasn't. But here you go. It's really funny because so many people have suggested that we are moving to France because I've been talking about how much we love France, and we still do. Sadly, that wasn't an option because we both wanted to work somewhere where we speak the language pretty well, and so that didn't work out. But so we are really, really excited about it, and of course, once it all comes a bit closer and we will have a baby, but once everything comes down at some point in time, I am looking forward to connecting with all of you in the UK, and I hope that it will be really, really fun. Also, it's going to be interesting to watch because I am someone who constantly adapts their English speaking accent to whomever I'm talking to. So I think in a year's time, it's going to be really funny to see the change in my accent because I learned the majority of my English in Australia, and I used to have the full-blown Aussie accent, and I can't even do it anymore really now. And so it's going to be interesting and a big change, but we are very, very excited about it all. So yeah, those are some big news. And I think there's nothing I can say now to top that. So, in terms of what is happening right now, rather than in a couple of months or whenever things calm down, like I said, it's Saturday morning, and I am planning to have a big knitcation weekend because Kai is doing some kind of game jam, which is like a programming thing where he and a couple of other people have to, I think, make a computer game, online game. I don't know, some kind of game that is programmed in Unity over the weekend. So he is going to be stuck in front of his computer, and he's very, very excited about it. And so I am planning to just knit my heart out, which I thought it's just going to be so much fun. I have a couple of new project ideas, so I thought I would just podcast this morning, and then because I already have so much stuff, or had so much stuff that I wanted to show you, and then who knows, maybe I'll make some special content, maybe not. We'll just see how it goes, but I am hoping that by the next time we talk, I will have quite a bit of new exciting knitting to show you. I have some ideas that I want to try out. I have some more baby knitting, in fact, that I want to do, so we will just see how that goes. So nothing super exciting planned, but I mean, the prospect of knitting and coffee, which is what I'm going to make myself as soon as I finish this podcast episode, always makes me very, very happy. So I hope that this podcast, while it has been a little bit too long, I think, has been entertaining for you guys. I hope I managed to keep you company while you're maybe knitting or crocheting. And if you're not feeling the crafting mojo right now, maybe you just got a little bit of inspiration. So I will see you again very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks for watching again. Happy knitting. Bye.